So the question of the day is, can a single photo shoot change your life? As weird as that sounds to say, yes, it absolutely can. I am showing client results on the screen somewhere right here, right now. We're going to go through, first let's show Nick Varga. You can see some photos of Nick. I'll just kind of scroll through him. And then later on, we'll show a Latino guy named Tonal. And then after Tonal is done, we will have Joe up there. He's be another white guy. So the thing about these photo shoots is this, as weird as it sounds, like why as a man can a single photo shoot change your life? Well, obvious reasons. Dating has now become digital dating, right? So rather than the majority of romantic relationships begin through in-person meeting, face-to-face, bars, nightclubs, grocery stores, classmates, work relationships, things like that, college, about 50% of all romantic relationships start online, and that number is going up by 2 to 3 percentage points every year. So it's not going up by 3%, it's going up by 3 percentage points. So from 50%, 53, 56, 59, 62, 65, etc. By the next 5 or 10 years, you're probably going to see as many as 75 to 85% of all romantic relationships begin online. So much like, well, at least I hope, many of you had once upon a time learned the skill set of talking to women, being more charismatic around them, learning how to use your voice. So you don't talk like this with an upward inflection. Oh my God, she give me your number. But you say, hey, you're cute. I think we have a good vibe. She give me your number. You just talk in a normal way. You're not too needy, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to have to learn how to date online now. Now, this involves several things. The main thing is the online presentation and photography. Now, I want to address a big elephant in the room because dating is so visual and it requires so much about photography, this and that. If you're a big, ugly, fat piece of shit, getting a professional photo shoot done with me, like with the clients, I guess I hope that was pretty obvious. If it wasn't obvious, I shot those photos and I touched them up and I did everything to give these guys, better photos for their Instagram and for their online presence. Now, as you can see, none of those guys are big fat slobs. They're at least all, average looking guys. I'm a very average looking guy, and that is required. So if you are super old and super overweight, the best person taking your photos and having the best strategy won't really help you at all, unfortunately. And you need to lose weight. You need to go through a Luke's maxing journey. You need to hit the gym. Again, I'm not like a super buff guy, but like when I take my shirt off, girls go, oh, wow, they touch my muscles and shit like that. Like I'm an adjustable 6, which means that to a particular girl, I could be a 7.5 or an 8. And when it comes down to having great photography, great presentation, funny, charming videos on your social media as well, then it becomes kind of a numbers game with your strategy, which we can talk about in a second. But okay, so again, back to like learning this whole skill set, right? Number one is like the photography thing. Now, whenever people work with me, it's not just about getting a whole bunch of like pretty pictures, right? It's not just about, oh, let's get the pretty photos, right? Because even if you look decent and you have good photos. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention, if you are this, super overweight guy, it's going to be a combination of like, Luke's maxing. And then you have to be very honest with you. Some of you guys will have to go overseas if you want an attractive woman. Like if you're 48, really overweight, you don't look good, you're not a handsome guy, you were actually like objectively an ugly guy, you're cooked in the States, you got to go overseas. But anyway, for most of us who can get at least to like an adjustable 6, like just normal-ish looking guy, you can still date in the States. You can also be a passport bro. And this is where a lot of the strategy comes in, right? Like, what are the good dating markets? The golden rule of being a passport bro is that you don't go to a dating market where dating wouldn't be any more advantageous than the US. Like almost nobody I've ever met has had a good experience in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Like it sounds like, oh, it's a very European modern city, but in Latin America, the girls are pretty, they're blondes, they're Latinas, but they're kind of white, If that's your preference, it's not my preference. I prefer Morena Latinas, but a lot of guys prefer the white Latinas and they don't have a good time there. Or guys think they have a good time there because they're comparing it to like West Virginia and they were finally able to like date a 6.5 that liked them. But most of the girls are snobbish, don't like foreigners, etc. So there's a lot of strategy that comes into it. So going back to this whole strategy thing, right? The difference between working with, some dating app photographer, first of all, most of these guys suck. There's a few other good people that do this. I won't name any names, but I think some people do a little bit too fake. It's like, bro, like the guy's walking off of a private jet with 3 Scandinavian models in the background holding a Gucci bag. Like that doesn't look like a natural shot. That was just clearly like, you paid a photographer to, take some weird, unnatural shit, right? But there are some other good photographers out there, but most of them fall apart with being in the right location. Like for the photos I showed earlier, here I'll show some of my photos. Editor, you can show, scroll through some of my best pictures, and show my shit right now. But you notice that aside from the way you're dressed, the environment makes a big difference because when a woman's judging you from online, so there's basically like three things, right? That's going to come down to be attracting a woman, and there's other things too, right? But it's the main ones are going to be your genetics, right? Which I can't help with a lot. Are you the right bone structure? Are you the right ethnicity that she likes? Are you, in general, the right height? I already said ethnicity. I already said bone structure, just like your DNA, genetics, like who you are physically. Then it's going to be your status is going to be the number 2 thing. So online, it's about, are you her type? Does she like your genetics? And do you appear high status? And that's what being in these luxurious environments does. It boosts your status. Now, you don't have to be with, I'm not holding, the bands of money like the fake rapper, I'm holding like the bands of money, like, sorry, I'm on a call, and they're holding like 50K. There's nothing corny like that. There's no Rolexes, there's no Lamborghinis. It's just normal, high status photography. And you communicate that by the way you dress, the locations, and who you're in the photos with you. I don't know, at some point, hopefully my editor has showed one of these group shots where I'm with like at a table with some beautiful women. I'm not directly touching the women, etc. And then beyond those, between like genetics and status, your chemistry you have with the girl, your resources. Girls, hot girls don't like to date brokies, and there could be a few other things, but those are going to be the main ones. And from an online standpoint, I need to have a good strategy for all of them. So we talked about photography. Genetics, you can Luke's Max, you can, get a hair transplant. Like I had to shave it. I had a little like touch-up procedure. I'll do a whole video about my hair transplant. I don't want to get off topic, but I'm kind of like beard maxing now. Like you can kind of see, like someone accused me I did a show with Walter recently, Fresh Prince CEO from the Fresh and Fit podcast. Walter Dalton Weeks, his real name. I did a show with him, and some guy accused me of like, this guy got jaw implants. He got like jaw filler. No, bro. It's just like, I'm like, kind of doing that whole Dan Bilzerian, beard thing. But so aside from the, good photography, the Luke's maxing, stuff like that, getting the best shape, being adjustable 6, geo maxing is a good strategy, right? So, and this is what I talk about too. Like if you live in like Miami, Brickell, if you're not from South Florida, these, may not make sense to you, but like if you're in like Brickell, where basically every girl is like a sugar baby, OnlyFans girl, etc. Even just going like trying to find girls in like Coral Gables, Kendall, Fort Lauderdale, like not exactly in your area, or setting your language settings on Bumble to try to find foreign women that maybe have better values. Or it can be a passport, bro. Location is kind of like, some of us have the option and luxury to do it. Some of us don't want to do it. And if you want to stay dating in the States, that's fine. But again, for an example, if you're in Los Angeles and you live in West Hollywood, Brentwood, Beverly Hills, even just like dating girls in like the Valley, or, suburbs, Torrance, Redondo Beach can give you a totally different girl in terms of like how stuck up and, entitled she is, right? Now, with this whole digital dating thing, right, like, strategy like in person was like working on your mouthpiece, working on your game, maybe having like a few, canned lines or routines that you use and stuff like that. With online, you have to have a very clear system in the way you text, like a very systematized, almost like a sales funnel for you guys to do marketing, like almost like a copy and paste system. And I can actually give you mine for free. If there'll be a link in the description of this video. I have a free community on this platform called Skool. Skool is kind of like Facebook groups, but they're not on Facebook. They're communities, right? You can message people, you can make posts. And there's I have a free text messages database with 70 plus copy and paste text messages you guys can get for free. I'll put a link in the description to get that. And oh shit, just dropped my phone, dropped my notes. When you're texting a girl early on, too, and you'll see this. This is kind of explained when you have like access to the database, which you can get for free. You do not have to pay me money for this. This is not a sales pitch. You want to be very, very fluffy in the beginning. Just you're some like charismatic lines, kind of like very gamey, very, very flashy. Quickly from that, just act very normal, and then judge her on how quickly she's responding. the thoughtfulness of her responses, and if she's just simply answering your questions, or if she's also asking you questions. If she's investing, asking you questions, if she's giving longer answers, that's a good thing. You can start giving compliance tests later on by asking like longer thought-provoking questions like, hey, this is random, but have you heard of these things called like the 5 love languages? Like there's, acts of service, quality time, and a couple others. And like, what's your favorite love language? Girls love talking about this shit. It sounds kind of gay as I'm saying it to you, right? But girls love talking about this shit. And if she's going to give a long answer and go in depth about like what her love language is to you, she's not a time waster. And there's more, getting them on a video call and, what you do on the first date. Actually, within my Skool Community, there's other courses that kind of, go over this stuff, courses on photography and stuff like that. So basically what I'm saying is it's all about having an adapted strategy for online. And, to go back to the roots, the title of this video, it's good to know what to text. It's good to have a good first date blueprint. It's good to geomax, go to an area where you're appreciated, blah, blah, blah. But the main thing is a single photo shoot can change your life. Now, when people work with me, we have a variety of things we do, right? So, let me, yeah, okay. I was going to get off on a tangent, but I decided not to. What we do is I have like, one core, I have 2 core programs, right? One where I vet and send photographers to you, and I show you exactly where to go, how to pose, what to wear, who's your photographer is going to be, how to like not fuck up the photo shoot, and when you're done with the photo shoot, how to select the photos, touch them up to make yourself look better. Here, editor, at this point in the video, you can show some of my before and after, some of my touch-ups, which make like a really, really big difference. So I work with you. There's unlimited coaching in anything I sell, anything you buy from me. There is unlimited coaching for life, like no subscriptions, one-time payment. And then the other program is I just take the goddamn photos for you. So rather than find you the photographer and tell you where to go and and you have like, these notes on like how the photos should come out and how you should pose, I'll just do the whole fucking thing for you. And I'll be very honest, it doesn't like behoove me to say this. We've had a lot of sales recently. Like I took all of like December off, but basically like the last month of November or first month of December, I had 5 sales calls, closed all 5 of these guys, and only like 2 or 3 out of the 5 like actually took action. And like I give them a photographer, I tell them where to go, I'm like, buy this blazer from Zara, get it tailored this way, pose like this, and a lot of them still don't take action. So what I'm going to build into my offers now, I'm going to raise my prices, and they're going to come with your first photo shoot included with me, because I'm tired of people coming in, they get really hyped, they spend a pretty penny to work with me, so I feel guilty about taking their money, then they don't get shit results. I mean, the people who actually like call the photographer that I told them to call, go to the places that I told them to go to, pose in the way that I told them to pose, like those guys succeed. But for whatever reason, a lot of guys, even after they paid me, a pretty penny, they still don't get around to doing it. So what we're going to do from now on is work photo shoots into the actual offer. You can go to my Instagram, RedbeardRants1, and message me the word photo shoot if you want to learn more. But again, I'll handle everything. Like there may be even a point where I'll have like blazers and slacks and like the fashion like ready to go for you. We're not there yet. You'll actually, at this point still have to buy your own goddamn blazer and stuff. But we'll be doing regular photo shoots in Los Angeles and Miami, hopefully 1 a month, like 1 month Los Angeles, the next month Miami, the next month Los Angeles, the next month Miami. I may also do some photo shoots, wherever I happen to be in Latin America at the time. But we're building that into the offer because it's just going to make it a lot easier for people to get it done. And again, like this is, back to the root of the video, like I said a million times, like a single photo shoot can change your life. Because if you're kind of living in the past, what's like the old ways of doing pickup, right? If you're kind of doing resistance to this digital dating, day game, listen, when I was staying with, I did like 3 back-to-back Fresh and Fit podcasts. I did the late night show. I did a show with both of them, and I did a show with just Walter. Mary Brickell Village, Miami, whatever. There's beautiful girls everywhere. You can walk out of your house and get like 15 sets in 15. That's like an approach. You can do like 15 approaches in an hour. They'd all be OnlyFans girls and sugar babies, and it probably wouldn't be very successful. But like, listen, if you live in Cincinnati, if you live in Ohio, if you live in Nebraska, if you live in Philadelphia, I don't imagine you can walk out to your local shopping mall on a Wednesday afternoon and find like 10 beautiful girls you can approach in an hour. You'd probably be walking around 99% of the time doing nothing, finding almost no attractive girls. And then night game, pressure to drink, be out late. It's really, really hard to like do night game on a, consistent basis, a consistent level, like give it the night game the attention it needs, which is like hitting it hard Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and like build a business or be successful. Your circadian rhythm is going to get messed up from having to stay out late. And people just aren't social at nightclubs anymore like they used to be back in my day. Now everybody, if a girl, high quality girl wants to date, she just goes on Hinge or Bumble. She doesn't, go. And honestly, back to the strategy thing, it's not just having the pretty photos, but the strategy. Me and all my clients, we meet most of our girls directly on Instagram. We definitely do use some apps. There are some diamonds in the rough on apps. We also have a service where we'll have 2 tiers of the online dating virtual assistant service, where number 1, we can just locate beautiful girls in your area on Instagram for you to message on Instagram. Well, you will have much, like, night and day, orders of magnitude, greater success, like life-changing results in your dating by messaging women in your area on Instagram and trying to flirt with them and meet them and date them directly from Instagram than you will with a dating app. But a lot of you schmucks will, make it go, oh, I don't want to do that for XYZ reason. But you have to have the sick profile too, right? Which comes back to what I said a million times. A single good photo shoot can change your life, because whether you like it or not, you are your online avatar. Actually, editor in the video, put a photo of Joe's podcast photo where Joe's in like the podcast studio. Just this one photo. I have a photo like that. A lot of my other clients have it like that. We literally rented out a podcast studio and did a fake podcast. In Portuguese, you would say it, fake cast. Fake cast. A gente fez fake cast. Like a fake podcast, because we did the photo shoot in Brazil. That's why I'm speaking Portuguese. But a lot of girls have told myself and my clients, like, the only reason why I'm really messaging you back is because I was interested in you. Like, who are you? Like, what's up with this podcast? I see you do podcasts. Like, that's super interesting, blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't care so much that, like, you do a podcast. She doesn't want to, you can always just say, like, oh, well, I was talking about XYZ, high ticket sales or content creation or whatever, my friend's podcast. And they never really like go down the rabbit hole and like, well, let me see your podcast. Plus, you can just say it's not your podcast. You were invited on it. But my point being, it's status. Remember I said it's 2 things online initially. It's genetics and it's status. Genetics and status. If you're of the right format, the right ethnicity that she likes, if you're a universal kind of adjustable 6 and you do a lot of volume, bro, even on the Fresh and Fit podcast, like, people love to roast me for my looks. I know I'm not super handsome, but I'm not nearly as ugly as, like, people hate on me in the comments for. After roasting the shit out of these girls about their tattoos, calling a lot of them overweight, I had one girl, I had this thing was like, raise your hand if like going to the gym is a big part of your life. Like, a couple girls raise their hand. I look at them and I'm like, nah, put your hand down. They're like, why? I'm like, put your hand down, girl. The gym is not a big part of your life. She's like, oh, okay. Because they were fat. Even after all that, at the very, you have to watch it on Rumble. The YouTube stream cut off. But if you watch it on Rumble, I had the girls go around the panel and like rate me. Bro, there was like 6 girls, and like around the panel was like, 7, 6, 8, 8.5, 7, 7.5. Like, the majority of girls were ranking me around the 7.5 to 8 range, which, like, a girl ranking you an 8 to an 8.5 means she finds you sexy as fuck. And that's just my point, is like, if you were a universal 6, and again, there were some girls that actually said, oh, you're just not my type at all. They didn't really give a number, but basically they would said like 4 or 3. But my point being is, like, if you just get to a universal 6, then it becomes like a volume play at that point. Just like, I'm sure, like, I've said this analogy before, but guys will argue in the group chat. Some guy will post like a thin, like a skinny Scandinavian, tall, blue-eyed blonde model. Another guy will post an Asian chick. Another guy will post like a thick, big booty Latina morena that's like really, really thick, almost maybe even like slightly chubby, but not like necessarily chubby on the stomach, but like a lot of meat on her like thighs and butt. And every guy thinks that like his girl's the hottest and like the other ones are like gross, right? Women have those types too. So this is why when you have like the full strategy, the full packages, the pretty photos, the pretty pictures, right? The strategy to know how to find girls on Instagram and not use dating apps at all, the way to quickly vet and screen and get the time wasters out of there as quickly as possible, get girls on a video call first so you have no more shitty first dates, so you get laid on practically all your first dates, so you don't get flaked on the first dates, but there's a very, very specific way about getting a girl on a video call, your whole first date blueprint, everything. And then automation, some type of outsourcing, again, just having somebody find girls on Instagram for you and maybe swipe a little bit on the apps for you, because it is a volume game. The more you put in, the more you swipe, the more you use the app, The more you message and find girls on Instagram, the better results you get. And a quick side tangent, these apps like Hinge and stuff like that, another reason why they're kind of trash is because if you register and make a new Hinge account, they can just show you like a whole bunch of beautiful girls for a few days. But if you're not one of the top guys in that market, like if you're not like a sexy Chad with like a shirtless, like physique shot photo, tall, good looking, they may put you in a cohort where they're only showing you ugly women from then on, because they're like, this guy isn't a Chad. He's not a top tier guy. We're not going to show him any beautiful girls because like he has no chance of like matching with beautiful girls. And then, but like fuck Hinge, if they just gave you enough volume and like gave you a fighting chance, you may have to swipe more, but you would get some cute 7.5s. And listen, at the end of the day, most of us are probably going to wife up 7.5s. 8s and 8.5s are too much headache anyway. But on Instagram, you're not in any like cohort. Like the algorithm can't say like, well, you're a 5 and we're only going to show you girls that are 2s and 3s, because we know guys that are about the 5 or 6 range on a dating app match with girls that are like, about 2 points below them. So you're a 6, so we're going to show you 4s. They like Instagram, you can just like message who you want. You can't message who you want. There's a specific way you got to contact girls, and it keeps evolving and getting harder and harder to contact new people unless you like both follow each other. But we figured out a lot of ways. We can still hit the main inbox without landing in that dreaded hidden requests of doom. So look out in the future. Again, you guys can message me the word Photoshoot if you want some more information about this. As far as like in-person photo shoots, those aren't going to be taking place till I believe it's January 12th that I'm recording this video. It may get published, January 14th, 15th, who knows, depending on when my editor finishes it. But probably about within 2 months after this video comes out. So look for the first photo shoot in either LA and Miami to start around, like I said, middle of March roughly, but there'll be more time on that. And I don't think it should go without saying this will not be for brokies, because all of my programs, if you come out and do a photo shoot with me, they come with unlimited coaching for life. So did you hear that correctly? Did you let that whiz by you, or did you actually like ingest what I just said? Free, well, not free, you have to pay. Unlimited coaching for life for one-time payment, no subscription. I do a coaching call every other Sunday. One Sunday on, one Sunday off. One Sunday on, one Sunday off. One Sunday on, one Sunday off. And because again, like if I just take a whole bunch of photos for you, but you don't have the strategy, if you're not eventually doing some type of outsourcing or, automation, whether it's like just finding the girls or actually having a guy chat with girls, warm them up on your behalf, if you're not screening out the time wasters, if you're not at least exploring the possibility of geo-maxing, whether that means leaving the US entirely or just saying, hey, I'm in, Santa Monica, California. What about, I don't know, what's the city? That would probably be, Glendale or I can't think of is it Glendale that I'm trying to think of? Anyway, Santa Clarita, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank. Montebello, maybe. Cerritos, right? Some like random cities that would be like, a good, well, depends with traffic or not, but a good, 30, 40 minutes where you can already get a totally different reception from a girl that, like, if you set your dating app to like 5 miles, you're dating like Santa Monica girls that are all like, bro, if a girl lives in Santa Monica, I don't know if you guys, some of you guys are like, what is Santa Monica? It's like one of the richest areas in the world to live, one of the richest areas of Los Angeles. They're sugar babies, OnlyFans girls. Like there's no way like a hot 23-year-old could afford to live in Santa Monica unless she's got like, 7 roommates or something like that living in squalor. So there's a whole bunch of strategy that goes beyond just getting a bunch of pretty pictures. So packages may start at around, 1,500 all the way up to, 4 or 5K, depending on what you want. If you want like me to hire models and get social proof shots with the girls in it, if you want solo shots, group shots, we can rent, I don't know, limousines for like really nice, social proof shots. You can get your podcast, thing. We can orchestrate something where we get like a seminar room at WeWork and like you're giving a speech to a room full of people. All this stuff, all these status indicators, again, you can only change your genetics so much, and you can make it look like you have a better jawline by beard maxing. You can do a combination of hair transplant and scalp micropigmentation to make it look like you have like a really sick, really perfect hairline. You can get a rhinoplasty. You can only do so much. You can't really make yourself taller. There's some weird procedures for that. But for the most part, you can't change your height. You can't change your genetics that much. So you guys have to resort to indicators of high status and a lot of volume and a lot of automation and just really, really nailing this photo shoot stuff. And this is why I'm stepping in because, again, maybe 60, 70% of our clients, maybe it's even less. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, maybe it's only 60%. Follow the instructions. They hit up the photographer that I found for them. They schedule the photo shoot. They go to where they're supposed to go. They pose the right way. We choose the photo on a coaching call. We have them edited. They do great. They go through the course. They get results. They know how to find girls on Instagram. But a lot of them don't. So I don't know why. I mean, I couldn't make it any easier for them. But now I'm just like, now you guys have no excuses. I'm literally going to be offering in-person photo shoots, Los Angeles, Miami, and Latin America. Stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching another Redbeard Rant. It's been a pleasure. Peace out, gentlemen.